Everyone. This week we'll be looking at rhetoric, modality, and image as text. Go ahead and start that. Okay. So we've really talked a lot about rhetoric these past few weeks, and I hope you guys are starting to understand the weight that it holds in your lives. You encounter it all the time in your everyday lives. So another overview of it, just to really drive things home. Rhetoric is the art of effective or persuasive speaking or writing, especially the use of figures of speech and other compositional techniques. So the definition is simple enough, but it goes deeper than that. It is the practice of purveying ideas. It is the act of imparting information in one way or another, whether implicitly or explicitly, to another human being. And just a note, explicit means something that's clear and without vagueness or ambiguity, while implicit is kind of the opposite, is something that's understood but not directly described in a clear way. It's often used to implicate things without necessarily explicitly drawing things out. So multimodality is a new word for us. The term multimodality refers to the combination of multiple sensory and communicative modes, such as sight, sound, print, images, video, music, so on and so forth. These items are used in combination with one another to produce meaning in any given message. So, for example, memes are multimodal because you have written text and you have a visual accompanying them. Something multimodal might be a video essay or a digital slide presentation. It is an object that has multiple modes of communicating information. So towards the end of the semester, really close to the end, you will all have the opportunity, those of you who are shooting for an A on the grade contract will have the opportunity to create a multimodal project. If that's what you decide to do, it could be a video essay, some kind of major reworking of one of the pieces that you've done this semester, and it will be super fun. What is text? Text for us means something a bit different than what we normally think of when we think of a text. Usually when we're thinking of a text, we're thinking of a piece of writing that we read. But for us, it means something much greater. In academic terms, a text is anything that conveys a set of meanings to the person who examines it. So in our case, it may be graphic novels and comic books or journals, both personal and academic, photographs, poems, films, memes, paintings, the list goes on. Anything that conveys a set of meanings. It's not necessarily just written. Very soon, we'll be getting into visual rhetoric. So we'll start out with image as text. When we analyze a text, whether it's written, visual, oral, we search for both explicit and implicit meaning. We are looking for explicit and implicit rhetoric. You might be reading what this text is literally saying, or you could be examining something for the imagery, or if it is written, the word choice, the colors used, the tone, spacing, whatever text you're viewing, you're looking at all of these little details. We're searching for what the text means through looking at those details. We are examining rhetorical choices and trying to come to a conclusion as to what the author is trying to say with any given text. I like to use the potato eaters for this because it's such a dark, interesting image. When you're looking at this, you immediately notice that the painting is dark. The room is dingy. Mostly yellow, green, and black are used in the creation of this painting. Those dingy colors might lead you to think, hey, these people are not exactly wealthy because of their living situation. You notice that no one is smiling in the painting. Everything looks really somber. Monet's water lilies is very different from that, even though we've got yellow and green and this combination of colors. Um, when you look at it, it feels really peaceful. It feels like a tranquil thing. The pond, the flowers, and the grass come together to make a tranquil backdrop, which is very different from the potato eaters. Comparing the two, yeah, there's green, but the subject matter within the paintings themselves are very, very different. And the messages that the creators are trying to impart are vastly different messages. We may examine old paintings for rhetoric, for the academic value of what we might learn from the paintings in the same way that we examine written text. There's also other very important ways we can use analysis as a tool, and we use that in our everyday lives. When we listen to podcasts or watch TV or we compare product labels at the grocery store, we're constantly being bombarded with rhetoric. It's our job as viewers and consumers to examine and analyze that rhetoric. So here is another example, a digital drawing. We have a coming soon Amazon supermarket sign in the left side of the panel. Then on the right, we see these little mom and pop stores. There's a little grocery store and then a bookstore. When we start looking at it a little deeper, we notice the billboard sign is larger than the little mom and pop chains next to it. We notice that the sign, it feels like the sign is overtaking that, like that rhetorical decision to make the sign larger than the shopping center. It is a rhetorical decision. We know that more people are choosing to shop online, so we can make that connection there. Amazon supermarket coming soon. Amazon is overtaking all kinds of different markets. We start looking down here, we notice the out of order sign, which makes the viewer think that the bookstore is about to go out of business or is already out of business. We look at the facial expressions. We notice this puzzled, frightened look on the grocer. The person who owns the bookstore, we notice that their arms are crossed. They look kind of defeated. They're kind of scowling. And then there's this text bubble back here that says good luck, because the shopkeepers are going to need it if they're going to stay afloat. Looking at all of these little details helps us understand the meaning behind the drawing or painting or piece of writing. We understand what the creator is trying to share with us. Like in this political cartoon, we notice that all of these people, none of them are starving. They are very big, bloated members of this parliament who are very tall and powerful and could easily squash the little guys, like very easily. So we can kind of come to this understanding that these interest groups, Steel Beam Trust, Copper Trust, the people in charge of these different industries have all the power while the people here have none. Looking at these different examples, I guess first, rhetoric is powerful. We can share meaning through our rhetorical decisions, and we can derive meaning when we examine a text for rhetorical decisions. So this week, when you are reading the assigned readings and looking at the viewings, dig a little deeper for what the text might be implicitly saying. Look at what every given text is not laying out explicitly. Look deeper than the obvious and look for the little ambiguous messages that might be here and there. But that's all from me. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. and I will talk to you all soon. Let's see if I can figure out how to close this.